Let us begin with a truth that most men and women never dare speak aloud. The greatest enemy you will ever face does not reside outside of you. It lives within. It's not the critics. It's not your past. It's not the competition. The real reason you doubt yourself is because you have forgotten who you are. You were not born timid. You were not born uncertain. You were born with desire, with a fire in your soul to become, to create, to expand. But over time, the noise of the world, the opinions of the weak, the laughter of the mediocre, the failures you feared more than you studied, those things began to build a wall between you and your destiny. Doubt is not a natural state. It is trained. It is adopted. It is accepted by those who are too afraid to fight for their true potential. You doubt yourself because you have trusted the voices of limitation more than the whisper of your inner power. You look at your dreams and you say, "What if I fail?" But I ask you, what if you don't try? What if the very thing you're running from, the fear, the failure, the risk, is the very thing that holds the key to your greatness? You were not meant to shrink into the shadows of life. You were meant to stand in the full light of your own conviction. But conviction demands something of you. It demands discipline. It demands clarity. It demands that you stop waiting for permission and start taking responsibility. You doubt yourself because you are still waiting for perfect timing, waiting for confidence, waiting for approval. But confidence is not the starting point. It is the reward. It is earned in the trenches of consistent, purposeful action. You want certainty before you move. You'll wait a lifetime. The greatest men and women who have ever lived moved without certainty. They acted in faith. They believed in an idea so deeply that the world had no choice but to believe in them too, and yet you hesitate. Why? Because deep down you are terrified that you are not enough. But I tell you this, you have always been enough. The problem is not your capacity. The problem is your belief. You have mistaken momentary setbacks for permanent truths. You see, doubt is a habit, and like any habit, it can be broken. You break it not by thinking your way out, but by acting your way out. You make a decision that you will no longer live by fear, that your dreams deserve a champion, not a coward, that you will not spend another day waiting for someone to discover you. You will discover yourself. Let the world label you. Let them misunderstand you. Let them laugh. That's their job. Your job is progress. Your job is vision. Your job is to take the raw material of your life and forge it into something magnificent. The real reason you doubt yourself is not because you can't. It's because you've forgotten that you must. You must become the version of yourself that refuses to settle. You must become the voice inside your own mind that says, "I will not be denied." You must become the architect of your future, the ruler of your mind, the commander of your fate. Burn this into your mind. Doubt has no power over a mind that has decided. Make the decision and never look back. Self-doubt is not a force of nature. It is not etched into your soul at birth. It is not stitched into your DNA. No, self-doubt is something far more subtle and far more dangerous. It is learned. It is absorbed. It is accepted without question by those who do not yet understand the unlimited power resting quietly inside themselves. You were not born with fear of failure. You were not born with thoughts of what if I'm not enough. Look at any child and you will see boldness in its purest form. A child falls and rises again. A child asks, tries, climbs, explores, without hesitation, without permission. Somewhere along the way, the world begins its slow conditioning. It plants seeds of fear disguised as caution. It rewards conformity and punishes curiosity, and worst of all, it convinces you that your worth is dependent on how others perceive you, and you believed it, not because you were weak, but because no one told you otherwise. They told you to be realistic. They told you to lower your standards. They told you to be grateful for less. And over time, like a sculptor chiseling away at a block of marble, the world carved away at your boldness, until what remained was a shell of the fire you once carried within. This is the origin of self. Doubt, not truth but repetition, not experience but exposure to the wrong voices. Now understand this, the voice of doubt is not your own, it was borrowed, it was adopted. It was rehearsed so many times in your mind that it feels like truth, but it is not. It is a lie repeated long enough to feel familiar, and familiarity, my friend, is not the same as destiny. You do not doubt because you are incapable. You doubt because you have become more familiar with your limitations than your strengths. You've rehearsed the worst case scenarios so many times that you have forgotten the power of possibility, but that power has not left you. It lies dormant, waiting to be reawakened, and the moment you realize that doubt was taught, you regain the power to unlearn it. What you must do now is this: reject the idea that your doubts are permanent. Challenge the inner voice that tells you to play small. Question every belief that shrinks your ambition, and begin today to reintroduce yourself to the truth that you are more capable, more intelligent, more powerful than the world ever dared to tell you. You were never meant to be a prisoner of hesitation. You were born to move boldly in the direction of your dreams. The first step is to cast off the chains of doubt, and that begins the moment you understand that they were never truly yours to begin with. There is a lie that has crippled the ambition of millions. It is whispered in quiet moments of hesitation and shouted in the silence of inaction. It says, wait until you feel ready. Wait until you're confident. Wait until you are certain before you take the first step. But let us speak plainly. Confidence is not the cause of action. It is the result of it. Those who wait to feel confident before they move will never move at all. Because confidence, like every great force in life, is built brick by brick, through struggle, through repetition, through persistence in the face of fear. It does not arrive on its own. It is summoned through decision and strengthened through motion. The world is full of people who are capable, intelligent, and gifted, but they live as shadows of what they could become because they are waiting for a feeling that was never designed to come first. The man who builds an empire, the woman who leaves a legacy, they did not begin their journey with certainty in their hearts. They began with faith, not blind faith, but a deep inner knowing that action would create clarity. That movement, even if imperfect, was better than stagnation cloaked in the illusion of preparation. You must understand this. Your feelings are not the foundation. Your commitment is. There will be days when fear rises. There will be moments when the path ahead looks uncertain, when the weight of doubt feels unbearable. But those are the moments when you must move, not after the fear disappears, not after you feel ready, but right then, especially then. Because when you take that step, however small, something remarkable happens. Your mind begins to change. You prove to yourself that you are not at the mercy of emotion. You are the master of it. That, my friend, is where confidence is born, not in comfort, but in conquest. You do not build self-trust by thinking. You build it by doing. The man who doubts and still dares, he is the one who grows. He is the one who begins to walk taller, speak bolder, act with purpose. Because he has proven something to himself that no book, no mentor, no external praise can offer, that he can rely on his own will. So when the temptation comes to wait for the right time, the right mindset, the right conditions, you must remind yourself, the right time is a myth. The perfect moment is a fantasy, and the man who builds his life on fantasy will wake one day to find he has built nothing at all. Action is the seed, confidence is the fruit, and your job is to plant, daily, persistently, courageously. Do not wait, decide, move. The confidence you seek is waiting for you on the other side of action. If you were to strip away all the distractions of life, all the noise, the excuses, the opinions of others, you would be left with one undeniable truth. Your greatest enemy is not out there in the world. It is within you. Man searches high and low for the source of his struggles. He blames the economy. He blames his past. He blames his family, his circumstances, the government, the competition, and everything in between. But all the while the real adversary, the one keeping his foot on the brake, lives quietly behind his own eyes, the voice of fear, the whisper of self-doubt, the endless stream of hesitation. These are not forces to be negotiated with. They are thieves, thieves of destiny, thieves of peace, thieves of potential, and yet we entertain them, we listen, we reason, we stall, and in doing so we allow our dreams to decay. Understand this. No enemy on the outside can defeat a man who has mastered the battlefield within. But likewise, no opportunity in the world can save the man who has become a slave to his own self-limiting beliefs. You were not created to live in mental chains. You were born with the power of decision. And with that decision comes a choice. Will you rule your mind, or will you allow your mind to rule you? Most people surrender not because they are weak, but because they never learned to fight the inner war. They've never questioned the voice that says, you're not ready. They've never challenged the belief that says, you can't. They've never stood up to the part of themselves that thrives on comfort and safety, even when comfort is killing their ambition. You must become a new kind of warrior, one who battles not with fists, but with focus, one who conquers not with strength, but with self-control. The war is not against the world. The war is against your own hesitation, your own fear, your own excuse-making. If you truly want to rise, if you truly want to achieve something of lasting value, you must learn to silence the enemy within, not by shouting over it, but by starving it. Starve it of your attention. Starve it of your belief. Replace its lies with truth. Replace its doubts with action. Every time you act in spite of fear, you weaken that enemy. Every time you persist through discomfort, you take back ground. And every time you do the thing you were afraid to do, you step further into the man or woman you were always meant to be. The world may throw obstacles in your path, but the world cannot stop a man who has already defeated himself and won. The war is within. Win it, and there is nothing in this life you cannot have, do, or become. There comes a time in every person's life when they must face a defining truth. If you want to live a life of greatness, you can no longer escape responsibility. You can no longer point fingers. You can no longer wait for someone to rescue you. You must become the author of your own life story, and write it with boldness, with clarity, and with conviction. Conviction is not born from chance. It is forged by the fire of responsibility. The moment you say, this is my life, and I alone am responsible for what I do with it, everything begins to change. You stop waiting. You stop hoping for luck. You stop begging for approval from others because you realize no one is coming to push you, no one is coming to give you permission, and no one is coming to save you. The man who rises in life is the man who makes a firm decision. He decides that his dream is his job, not the world's job, not the government's job, not his family's job, his own, and from that decision comes a power that most will never know, the power of ownership. Responsibility is not a burden, it is a key. It unlocks your ability to change. You may not control every event that comes into your life, but you do control your reaction. You control your attitude. You control your effort. And once you own those things, no obstacle can hold you down for long. Most people live their lives like leaves in the wind, blown about by every circumstance, every opinion, every fleeting emotion. Why? Because they have never chosen to take control. They wait for the right time, the right opportunity, the right person to validate their dreams. But the truth is, life responds to boldness. It responds to the one who moves with intent, with decision, with resolve. You must wake up each day and declare, this day is mine, my energy is mine, my choices are mine, and what I do with them is what will shape my future. That is the mindset of a leader, a builder, a creator, not a victim. Conviction demands that you step up when no one is watching, that you keep going when the applause stops, that you hold the vision in your mind even when there is no evidence around you yet. It is a fire that must be fed by discipline, focus, and unwavering belief in the outcome. You want freedom, then take responsibility. You want success, then stop waiting to feel ready and start moving with purpose. You want to lead a life of meaning, then refuse to let another day go by where you hand over your power to excuses or delay. The moment you take full responsibility for your life is the moment you unlock the path to greatness. The world will not hand it to you, but if you claim it, if you own it, there is nothing that can stop you. Doubt is not a curse placed upon you at birth. It is not a permanent flaw, not an unchangeable trait. It is a habit, and like any habit, it was formed through repetition, through acceptance, through a series of small compromises that built upon each other until it became part of your daily thinking. You did not wake up one morning filled with doubt. No, it crept in gradually. You tried something once and failed. You were criticized. You were told to be realistic. So you hesitated, and then you hesitated again, and before you knew it, hesitation became normal. Playing small became familiar, shrinking away from your goals became a pattern, and that pattern hardened into habit. But here is the truth that will set you free. If doubt is a habit, then confidence can become one too. Habits are not broken by willpower alone. They are replaced, and doubt is replaced the same way you formed it, through repetition, through deliberate action, through practice. You must train your mind the same way you train the body. Daily, persistently, without excuse. Because if you do not condition your thinking, the world will do it for you. And it will not train you for greatness, but for obedience, for mediocrity, for fear. Each time you say, I can't, and you don't question that thought, you reinforce the habit of doubt. But each time you say, I will, and you act in spite of fear, you plant a seed of belief. Water that seed long enough, and it grows into the habit of courage. This is the great secret of achievement. You don't need to eliminate fear to move forward. You only need to stop obeying it. You don't need to be free from doubt to take action. You only need to stop letting it paralyze you. The first few steps will be difficult, uncertain, uncomfortable, but you must take them anyway, because that is how new habits are born. Start small, but start now. Build a record of victories, however minor. Each time you follow through, each time you finish what you start, each time you rise after falling, you are creating a new identity. You are becoming the kind of person who trusts themselves, and a man who trusts himself has no use for doubt. Most people never reach their potential not because they lack intelligence, but because they've built their lives around a habit of hesitation. They wait, they stall, they second, guess, until opportunity passes them by. Do not make that mistake. Train yourself to move. Train yourself to act before you feel ready, because in action, doubt begins to dissolve. You are not a victim of your past. You are not a prisoner of old thoughts. You are the architect of your mind and the builder of your future. Tear down the habit of doubt and replace it with the unshakable discipline of decisive movement. Your future is waiting, but it will not wait forever. There comes a moment in every life when a man must decide, not wish, not hope, not dream, but decide what kind of life he will live, and in that decision lies the dividing line between the common and the great, between those who merely exist and those who live with fire. You may wander for years, questioning your path second, guessing your worth, doubting your calling, but none of that will change until you do one thing: make a decision, not a half-hearted one, not a temporary one, but a full, unwavering, unshakable decision that says, I will not go one more day as anything less than what I was created to be. The world will not hand you greatness. It will not open doors simply because you want it to. No, it waits, it watches, and it responds, not to wishful thinking, but to those who move with certainty, who decide they will not be denied. Too many people are waiting, waiting to feel ready, waiting for a sign, waiting for someone to tell them it's their time. But life does not wait for the hesitant. It rewards the bold, the committed, the decided. You must make up your mind that your dream is non-negotiable, that your purpose is not optional, that you will either rise or die trying, but you will not retreat, you will not shrink, you will not turn back when the road gets difficult. Every man is given two choices in life: become more or stay the same. The man who becomes more is not necessarily the smartest, the strongest, or the most connected, but he is the one who decided to become more. He made a choice, and then he backed it up with relentless action. Day after day, storm after storm, until the world could no longer ignore the force he had become. You must understand this. Power returns to you the moment you decide that your life will be driven by purpose, not by fear. By discipline, not by emotion, by clarity, not by confusion. Do not wait another year to make the decision you already know you need to make. Do not wait until life forces your hand. Choose now, declare it. And then act on it with everything you've got. It won't be easy, nothing worthwhile ever is, but difficulty is not your enemy. It is your proving ground. It is where the weak fall away and the strong rise. The decision you make today will determine the story they tell about you tomorrow. Will they say you gave in to fear, or will they say you made a choice, a final and permanent choice, to live with purpose and never turn back? The time for wondering is over. The time for hoping is gone. Now is the time for decision, because once you decide, the world moves aside, and everything begins to align with the will of a man who knows where he is going.